An eagle's favorite tactic is to rush at prey with a stone from above and deliver a crushing blow with their claws, which look like huge hooks. This tactic is so effective that an eagle can defeat an animal 10 times heavier than itself. Now you will see the most epic attacks of these birds of prey. Eagles are real-life fighters. They know a lot about air combat tactics. Look how a bird of prey attacked a goose right in flight. A powerful blow that knocks down a bird like a bullet. She tries to stay in the air, leaving a trail of torn fluff behind her. But the eagle breaks her spine and finishes her off. Predators often attack prey that exceeds their mass. But eagles in this regard are the record holders among vertebrates. A feathered warrior attacks a deer, an animal almost 10 times heavier than itself. But despite this advantage, the ungulate is not able to escape. The enemy's grip is so powerful. The first blow of the eagle has already caused internal damage to the deer. He tries to fight back, to escape, but soon the bird gets to his neck with its curved beak. This fox thought that the eagle wanted to steal his prey. No, the eagle wanted to catch the fox himself. The bird strikes with jeweler's precision and with such tremendous force that it literally demolishes the victim. The fox flies up to the height of a man, does a few somersaults, and it becomes a dinner for the eagle. In addition, the golden eagle can deliver a crushing blow to the fox so as to drag it along the ground and stun it. Although the fangs and agility of the red robber cannot be underestimated, and he could bite the throat of the enemy, the feathered easily suppresses him. The struggle on Earth ends with the saddest outcome for the fox. The golden eagle quickly overcomes him due to the fact that it balances with the help of wings. This gives him the opportunity to fight with both clawed paws at once and leaves the fox no chance. It turns a predator that often preys on birds into a victim. This powerful bird is a real magician, isn't it? Definitely deserves your like on this video. In general, eagles are a whole group of birds that belong to daytime predators. This family also includes hawks, buzzards, kites, as well as Old World vultures, snake eaters, and some other birds. Falcons and ospreys are their closest relatives. They are called daytime predators as opposed to owls, nocturnal predators. And the definition perfectly describes the lifestyle that eagles lead. They eat only meat and hunt prey during daylight hours. Moreover, eagles attack victims right in the air, during flight, and also attack those animals that are on the ground. This makes the birds quite versatile fighters who are able to adapt well to different conditions. Eagles have several superpowers, opportunities and advantages of a unique body structure that take them to a completely different level relative to most other birds. First of all, it's super speed. You may know that the fastest mammal is the cheetah, which accelerates to an incredible 74 miles per hour, 119 kilometers per hour, which is almost twice the speed of a horse and 3 times that of human athletes. So, the peregrine falcon easily demolishes the cheetah. The cat would envy this speed. Over 200 miles per hour, 322 kilometers per hour, this bird is the fastest animal in the world, and its advantage is simply huge. In general, they are one of the best masters of flight. Birds of prey are able to both plan on ascending air currents that save energy and engage in active flight, vigorously moving their wings and thereby gain tremendous speed. But they move the fastest when they fall with folded wings. Of course, someone might say that these birds are cheaters. After all, they achieve such incredible speed thanks to special tactics. Falcons and hawks soar up and then fold their wings and fall like a stone on their prey. That is, gravity becomes their accelerator. But in fact, this is another superpower of daytime birds of prey: jewelry flight control. Even with folded wings, a falcon or an eagle can change the direction of falling, turn around and with lightning speed, and most importantly take off into the air again, spreading its wings. Thanks to acceleration, a bird weighing as much as a cat can strike a blow that will surpass a bear's in power. And flight control makes it possible to hit exactly the vulnerable spots of prey. In the head, the neck, along the spine. Like, for example, here. The falcon delivered a powerful blow to the rabbit's spine. Big-Eared is still alive, but his body is shaken by terrible convulsions due to damage to the nervous system. He will not be able to escape. In addition, excellent control allows the birds of prey to perform extremely risky maneuvers. For example, it hunts creatures that live near the surface of reservoirs. In general, eagles cannot dive. Their feathers will get wet, and the bird will quickly drown if the wings get completely wet. But eagles calculate the height and force of their wings so accurately that they have learned to fly up to the water with lightning speed, and then slow down and practically hover over its surface. Then the bird snatches the prey and immediately changes the direction of flight to climb up again. The most famous birds that pull off such a trick are bald eagles. But besides them, there are other species of birds of prey capable of such a dangerous and impressive trick. This way of life means that the eagle's character is literally fearless. So the honey badger will envy their bravery. Due to this, eagles often attack large animals and even other predators that seem to have the advantage of greater mass and strength. If you think that diving is the only aerobatics that eagles possess, then you're mistaken. They do not necessarily need to use the acceleration of free fall to accelerate to the speed of a sports car. Just look at the hunting of this bald eagle. Its prey is smaller and lighter, but powerful wings allow the predator to easily catch up with prey. And amazing control and reaction speed give him no less maneuverability. So eagles are capable of long chases almost as well as lightning attacks. The bird's body has excellent aerodynamic characteristics. So, if you want to design the perfect sports car of the future, then you know what to be inspired by. During a normal horizontal flight, birds of prey are also able to move incredibly fast. The falcon can catch up with the car. There is a rare video of an eagle attacking an airplane. It's hard to say if this really happened, but if so, the bird struck several blows on the wing of the device as if it was some uninvited guest who needed to be slapped in the face to just get out. Boars and warhogs are pretty serious opponents. Even large predators can find it difficult to cope with them. But the skill of eagles in attacks from the sky is so great that the boar has little chance. The eagle swoops down on the prey at an angle and delivers a crushing blow. Sharp claws act like a sickle, but the eagle's task is not just to damage the skin or blood vessels. He breaks his neck and his spine. And after that, the eagle can safely walk around with its prey in one paw. It seems as if he got into something and is dissatisfied with going to clean shoes. But in fact, the bird is glad that now she has lunch. The wolf is one of the most successful predators on the planet. But the golden eagle does not care about the reputation of this enemy. The bird is so strong that it can attack a wolf and take away its prey immediately after hunting. The golden eagle attacks the predator from above, Of course, a wolf is not a timid beast at all. He will fight back fiercely. Besides, he also surpasses the bird in mass and physical strength. But this golden eagle is a real champion in hand-to-hand combat. He spreads his huge wings over the wolf, hovers in the air, and strikes a series of powerful blows. The claws of the bird do not allow the wolf to reach him with his teeth. The reaction of the golden eagle is lightning fast. He hits accurately, and the wolf barely saves his eyes from the sharp blades of the bird's legs. As a result, the eagle successfully pushes back the enemy and takes away his rightful trophy, like some kind of air robber. But this wolf was unlucky. The eagle chose him as his prey. Of course, attacking a large predatory animal is very dangerous. But the eagle has an advantage. The laws of physics are on his side. When the bird crashes down on the wolf from the sky, the blow comes out so strong that the predator weighing as much as an adult did a somersault. The main weapon of these birds are their sharp, curved claws. Since birds don't need to walk much on their paws, the claws can grow much longer than those of mammals. Such huge crescent-shaped blades give the relatively thin and not very large fingers of a bird's paw a particularly sinister look. Don't you agree? The length of a large golden eagle's claw can be longer than the length of an adult male's fingers. The task of the claws is not only to inflict maximum damage, but also to keep the prey. This explains their specific shape, but can be viewed up close thanks to these rare frames. Although the fingers seem thin, they have tremendous strength. Therefore, the eagle can hold and even lift into the sky prey that exceeds its own strength. The coordination of the eagle's movements is amazing. The eagle can literally change the angle of the movement of the wings by several degrees in order to slow down, hover, or turn around in flight. And at the same time, to put forward their terrible claws to accurately hit their prey and grab it tighter than a pit bull with their jaws. And all this in a split second. The sharp curved beak of most representatives of this family of birds is quite short and wide. Therefore, they use this weapon not during the first attack, but after during the struggle. Eagles do not always deal with the prey after a fall. Sometimes they have to fight for a long time, and then the beak plays the role of a warhammer. The bird holds the victim with its claws and with its beak strikes precise blows at vulnerable places. But this arsenal still needs to be used correctly. First of all, daytime predators have supervision for this. It's worth mentioning right away. Their eyes have two special abilities. This is the ability to see far, for tens of miles, tens of kilometers, as well as the ability to accurately notice small objects and objects. An eagle can see a rabbit, despite the disguise of an eared rodent, even from the height of an airplane flight. But these birds do not have night vision, so they never hunt at night. The coyote tried to steal the eagle's food, but the eagle reacts instantly. Such jokes won't work with him. The eagle strikes powerful blows right on the face of the impudent dog. Sharp claws pierce near the eyes. Although serious injuries were avoided, the pain from these blows will be a lesson that the animal will remember for a lifetime. Unlike the feathers of waterfowl, the feathers of eagles get wet easily and quickly, after which the bird can no longer use them for flight. Therefore, going down to the water is a huge risk for them. Do you think that stopped the white-tailed eagle from hunting a goose right on the water? Of course not. The eagle attacks the enemy and from the force of the blow, plunges into the water almost by half. But the endurance of a bird of prey can only be envied. Although she starts to go to the bottom, the dry part of the wings is enough to keep her above water. The eagle even continues to fight and drown the goose. And then, with difficulty, but quite successfully, he pulls the prey to the shore, where he proceeds to dinner in front of every other shocked goose. And this waterfowl was able to give the eagle a worthy rebuff. Every time the predator made a turn and rushed at the victim again, the goose dived under the water and dodged the blow. The eagle lost strength faster because he had to maneuver vigorously, whereas the goose only needed to maintain concentration and make a short dive in time. But the patience of a predator is also a kind of weapon for victory. He was able to catch the goose at the very last moment, and instead of trying to drown the obnoxious opponent, he snatched him out of the water. It seems that the eagles have some kind of competition who will take more risks on the hunt. After all, this bird of prey did not just decide to catch prey right out of the water. She's targeting a sea snake. Yes, eagles generally like to hunt these legless reptiles. But in the water, the snake is much more maneuverable than on land. It is easier for it to turn around for a counterattack. And most importantly, it is the sea snake that is the most venomous in the world. She hunts fish. These creatures have a circulatory system so different from land animals that most poisons do not even work on them. The solution of the sea snake is to generate a toxin so strong that one drop of it could kill all the birds within a radius of hundreds of miles. But the eagle does not care about these risks. He relies on speed and wins. The bird was not only able to snatch the snake out of the water so quickly that the blow stunned the reptile and left it no chance to counterattack. The eagle also managed to see the head of the reptile at a great distance and attack it in order to block the jaws of the enemy with its claws. Everything is for the sake of posterity, because it is the chicks that the feathered fighter carries his prey. Sometimes the eagle's love of risk leads to curious cases, like this episode that occurred in the spring of 2022 on Vancouver Island. This predator was not afraid even to invade the territory of people. True, he attacked an ordinary goose, but this does not reduce the courage of the bird. The lightning attack ended unexpectedly. The owner of the goose ran out into the street and drove away the predator. To fight with a young mother who has a child in her arms is beneath the dignity of this noble predator. Well, or he just got cold feet. In any case, the goose was saved, but only thanks to the courage of the woman. It may seem that the eagles rely primarily on the main blow, and if they fight on the ground, then not for long. But this predator does not take endurance. It's not a problem for him to withstand a really long fight. He leaned on a powerful iguana, but the reptile's skin was too strong to be able to finish the hunt with one blow. However, the eagle gave up and grabbed the victim. As a result, the lizard tried to go somewhere into the thicket right with an eagle on side of its back. Do you know how long this struggle lasted? 5 hours. Of course, it wasn't too resource insensitive for an eagle, but still spending so much time clinging to a lizard. However, maybe for a bird it was an interesting attraction that improves the appetite? What do you think is the reason for such a love of birds of prey for risk? Don't forget to reply in the comments. Although daytime predators prefer to attack from the air, if necessary, they can continue a long battle already on the surface of the earth. Moreover, even the superiority of the enemy in brute force will not stop them. The predator rushes at the larger bird and strikes, but this is not enough. Then a fight ensues, which is sometimes similar to fencing. The birds try to maneuver, dodge, and the fight drags on. But the escape routes are blocked. The predator simply will not allow you to take off or escape. Therefore, the outcome of the battle is clear. Sometimes an eagle has to fly to find its prey. He can fly for hours over steppes or valleys looking for a victim to attack. But if a bird of prey finds a large gathering of animals, it will resemble some kind of feast. See how an eagle flies over a huge flock of flamingos. The predator clearly chooses the most delicious prey. and then hits the flamingo from above, just as the victim is trying to climb onto the wing. A well-aimed blow, and the pink bird crashed into the water. Then the eagle descends even lower and finishes her off. The white-headed feathered fights brutally and leaves the enemy no chance. Comparing birds of prey with real fighter planes is not just praise for birds. After all, these creatures are capable of many aerobatics. Pay attention to this hunt, which caught the lens in 2022. Here, the birds demonstrate amazing agility, but the predator wins thanks to virtuoso maneuverability. He performs something like a half barrel, a 180-degree turn so that the wings are directly strictly up and down. At the same time, if the aircraft uses a maneuver for protection in order to get away from the missile, then the bird, on the contrary, in order to attack the target more successfully. At the same time, the predator grabbed the victim only tangentially, so she fights back, even being in the claws of a formidable enemy. We must pay tribute to this brave bird. It will fight for survival until the very end. And although her injuries would hardly have allowed her to fly if she had managed to escape from the grip, she still struggled. And who are you rooting for in this situation? Let us know in the comments. In any case, the bird of prey admires its bravery no less. After all, she did not slow down and used her beak at full speed right in flight. That is, for some time she flew blindly at great speed, risking crashing into rocks. At the same time, when a bird strikes with its claws, the feathers of the victim fly around like some kind of strange fan. And all because of the huge force that the predator puts into each throw. Even if the prey has time to react at the last moment, turns around and meets the enemy with its own claws, this will not slow down our hero, not for 1 second. It suppresses the prey's resistance in an instant. But even knowing the flying skills of falcons and eagles, it is difficult to understand how confident they feel in the air. It seems as if they are not afraid of falling whatsoever. Here, a peregrine falcon attacked another to take away its prey. At the same time, there was no brutal fight. The duel was surprisingly elegant. This duel could be filmed in 2022, and she could win the final competition for the most honest dogfight in the world. It would be much easier to attack the opponent from above. But instead, the falcon flew up to the competitor from below, made a barrel right in flight, hovering with its paws up. In this position, he carefully grabbed the prey right in the paws of the opponent. As a result, 2 birds lost their balance. For most birds, this would have been a fatal ending, but these falcons spent less than a second to restore flight. And then they flew together, competing in the tug of prey. Pay attention that they do not try to hit each other with either claws or beaks. Why do you think these birds are so noble with each other? Is this an instinctive behavior or a character trait of these individuals? Share your opinion in the comments. Amazing solidarity and honor, which does not negate their commitment at all. Both peregrine falcons risk themselves, but try to keep their prey until the last. Human pilots on their fighters can fly at a speed several times faster than the speed of sound. But they are far from the freedom that these birds know. At the same time, both birds not only survived, but maintained good neighborly relations. One of them unhooked in time, leaving the winner lunch. But with prey, birds of prey do not play chivalrous behavior. Here you can see how parents feed their offspring. Their nest is safely hidden in the thickets. The kids scream and open their mouths as wide as possible to be the first to receive a treat from their parents. But the family ideal is violated by a predator who has found the prey's lair. Parents are not around, they cannot cope with such a threat and had to run. For a carnivorous feathered, this is a real gift. He just takes one of the chicks and takes it to his nest. a light snack for the capture of which almost no effort was spent. If there was such an opportunity, would you intervene in this situation? Answer in the comments. And this duel is one of the coolest aerial duels between a bird of prey that has only been caught in the camera lens lately. The golden eagle is one of the largest and most powerful birds. And for him, even the black vulture is not a fellow, but a potential prey. However, although the golden eagle wants to eat this feathered one, it does not attack it like a defenseless goose. The golden eagle is going on a frontal attack. He flies straight at the opponent and gives him a chance to put his clawed paws forward. What is this, if not the nobility of a real warrior? A powerful blow occurs and both birds collide like two air rams. And then, the golden eagle hits the opponent with a wing from a turn, like a master of some bird martial arts. But the vulture did not lose his balance, the opponents uncoupled. Both survived this fight, which was too close to the ground to continue. True golden eagles are not always so noble. This bird just brushed away the falcon with one lightning strike. So, it's worth remembering, there are always sharper claws and stronger wings. When an eagle knocks down a victim and forces her to ride on rocky ledges, it's spectacular. But in the arsenal of the bird, there are also more impressive techniques for using gravity for their own purposes. Really huge eagles can lift even a fawn or a kid into the air, into a huge height. Then the bird simply releases the prey, and she flies from the height of the 10th floor with a completely predictable ending. The feathered one can only go down and start eating or take the remains of the prey to his nest. This way, it is possible to significantly save energy. The wingspan of some birds of prey can reach 6 or even 6.5 feet, 1.8 or even 2 meters. So it can show that these are massive creatures. They are powerful, but in fact much lighter than it seems. Eagles are 3 or 4 times lighter than wolves, which are comparable to birds in size. So a mountain goat is 5 times heavier than a feathered one. It is difficult to cope with such an opponent. An eagle can cling to him and literally ride him. But in order to defeat the prey faster and more reliably, you have to push it off the cliff. Then you can strike a few powerful blows on the rocks and then throw him into the abyss, if there are no other options. This confrontation looks brutal and epic, especially since the bird is also at risk. She is too close to the ground and will have no time to climb on the wing if the prey can drag him along. But usually this does not happen. Eagles are too experienced and strong predators. Nevertheless, even if a large eagle is crushed to a stone, its bones can withstand such a powerful blow. Look, an eagle saddled a mountain goat. The ungulate in a panic tries to escape along the edge, and the feathered one throws it off balance so that the prey simply breaks when falling from such a steep slope. But instead, the goat hits the rock along with the eagle. Do you think that the bird crashed or turned into a flat pancake like a cartoon character on whom a weight fell? As if not so. The eagle not only survived, but did not even loosen its grip. Of course, due to the relatively small mass, eagles are almost vulnerable, especially on Earth when they are attacked by large predators. The mass of a brown bear can reach half a ton or even more. In fact, the bear has a 100-fold advantage over the eagle. It's like as if a person tried to beat an elephant hand-to-hand. When the female discovered the nest of eagles, she was not afraid to bring her cubs with her for lunch. She was so sure of victory. Even the sharp claws of a feathered bird cannot save the chicks when they are attacked by this mountain of muscles. It is not surprising that eagles do not like bears and can even attack them for no apparent reason. Who knows, maybe a winged predator slapped a bear in revenge for old grievances. However, the eagle may be strong enough to fight back the lioness. Unusual tactics and cunning are used for this. The bird spreads its wings wide, it is too heavy to instantly take off to a great height. If she tries this, the lioness will have time to catch her pouncing from behind. It seems that the feathered creature understands this and does not try to rise into the air. Instead, the eagle spreads its wings on the lioness. So, the bird seems much bigger and does not allow itself to be attacked from the flanks. Of course, paw strikes could crush the wings in a second, but the lioness does not know this. In addition, the eagle rises above the ground enough to get its claws into the enemy. And the cat does not need extra damage. As a result, the bird remains alive, which is a great luck after meeting with the lions. And what epic fight with the participation of daytime feathered predators struck you the most? The python thought that in front of him was an ordinary rodent that would easily become prey. Fatal error. The porcupine masterfully wields needles as a real weapon. There are several species of animals that, with small sizes, have such trump cards that will unpleasantly surprise even the most formidable predators. Squirrels have a reputation for being cute and innocent animals. Their fast jumps, timid nature, and fluffy tails made them a good image of good-natured and cuties. Here it is, effective PR in action. It must have affected the snakes as well. This venomous reptile thought it was going to have a delicious snack. Big mistake. The squirrel doesn't even try to escape. On the contrary, she goes on the attack herself. A cobra can take down a horse with one bite, but a squirrel turns out to be too agile and dexterous. Not a single throw hits the target. The snake already takes a defensive position in a panic, opens the collar, but the squirrel doesn't care. She attacks again and again as lightning rushes from side to side. This is not a unique case. It turns out that squirrels are great fighters. They avoid fights, but if they are angered, then even larger predators will only have to run. These rodents prefer nuts, fruits, and vegetable food, but on occasion they will gladly snack on a poisonous snake. Squirrels have no immunity from the poison of these reptiles, only agility, lightning-fast reaction, and courage, which would be enough for several lions. So don't joke with that squirrel when you feed her nuts. The tactics of squirrels are very unusual. They can either attack from the flanks to confuse less agile opponents, or use their tail. No, they don't hit the snake with it, but they distract them. The tail rises above the squirrel's back, the snake reacts to it and tries to bite, but its teeth slip off the fluffy fur. Meanwhile, the sharp teeth of the squirrel, which easily cope with the hard shell of nuts, are already getting to the scales of the enemy. A porcupine is a small, well-fed animal the size of a dog, with short paws and a cute muzzle. But experienced predators try to avoid this. The reason is simple. Porcupine quills are practically an ultimate weapon against most predators. The fact is that they have a slightly jagged structure, so they do not just hit the enemy with painful injections, but get stuck in their flesh. In addition, the needles are very quickly and easily detached from the porcupine itself. Therefore, most often, a skirmish, a lot of needles remain in the predator's body. And that's when the most unpleasant thing happens. Inflammation. In a warm and humid climate, an infection penetrates into the wound, which very quickly causes blood poisoning, tissue death. And such a wound hurts very much. No matter how tough a lion is, he has no grasping fingers, no antiseptics, no antibiotics. Therefore, an ordinary rodent, we can say an overgrown rat, is able to deal with an adult lion, which scatters a gang of hyenas and knocks down buffaloes. In addition, the porcupine is well aware of the capabilities of his weapons and uses it masterfully. He just seems cute. If the porcupine feels threatened, he will attack the enemy itself. And it looks funny from the outside. The porcupine walks with its back to the leopard, moves sideways, and tries to catch the enemy with the tips of his needles. But the leopard is not funny. The porcupine is able to come close with a powerful jerk and force the needles to dig deeper into the predator's flesh, and then move away with a light movement, leaving the needles there. The rodent acts so nimbly that it caused the myth that it shoots needles from a distance. This, of course, is not the case, but who knows where evolution will lead him. At the same time, porcupine needles, contrary to another myth, are not poisonous. These are ordinary modified hairs, just longer, harder, and tougher. But thanks to their flexibility, it is almost impossible to remove needles with their paws. And besides the threat of infection and pain, the needle will also interfere with movement. A terrible weapon. Thanks to this, it is much more difficult to cope with a porcupine than it seems at first glance. So give this porcupine a like. It definitely deserves it with its bravery and fighting skills. The alligator is very young, and the jaguar has the advantage in strength, but the reptile knows judo. Look at that throw over his shoulder. Definitely a black belt. The jaguar literally flies into the water. Usually, a sloth is an easy prey. He of course stinks, but he is not able to provide decent resistance because of his legendary slowness. Therefore, huge harpy eagles are very fond of hunting these animals. The birds literally brush the sloths out of the branches and take them to their nests for lunch. For them, sloths are an easy prey in 99% of cases. But this sloth is the exception. He turned out to be a tough nut to crack. The harpy is shocked herself, but she didn't know who she was messing with. Not only that, but the sloth somehow miraculously escaped the blow. So he also fights off the bird when it landed on the branches to deal with the prey in close combat. As a result, the harpy has to retreat. Like this anaconda. Sloths try not to leave the trees and reluctantly go down to the ground. For them, moving on the ground is so much more stressful that this beast just doesn't care about the anaconda. He literally steps on it to get to the right tree. Maybe the sloth's impudence scares the snake, or maybe it was just full, but the animal successfully trampled on the anaconda and got to the right tree it needed. Why do you think the anaconda didn't attack? Let us know in the comments. The main advantage of the impala is speed. It is really impressive. Like the maneuverability of a hoofed animal, it is instantly able to change its direction of running and dodge the claws of the lioness at the last second. Fast as a bullet, the impala passes the predator by itself and runs away, leaving the enemy to swallow its dust. This ungulate does not have enough strength to resist predators like leopards and hyenas. Therefore, if you have already been caught, then most likely the impala will become lunch. But here the hyena clearly underestimated its enemy. She caught the impala and was ready to take it with her fangs, but was distracted by the cheetah. Suddenly, the impala jumps up and runs away. It turns out that she was alive the whole time. It just had enough composure to deceive the hyena and take advantage of the only chance for salvation. That's how cunning sometimes saves in cases where brute force is not enough. And an impala also knows how to use someone else's competition for its own good. A group of animals at a watering hole was scared off by a leopard. The cunning predator appeared so unexpectedly that it surprised one of the impalas, which was at a depth of. It didn't have time to escape. The young leopard's fangs closed in on its throat, and suddenly a hyena appeared. It was more massive than a very young spotted hunter, so she was able to drive away the competitor. But the impala was alive and jumped to her feet at the moment when the hyena's fangs were as far away from her body as possible. As a result, the hoof managed to escape from a seemingly hopeless situation. It is worth paying tribute to the impala's endurance. She doesn't try to pull away when the hyena was looking at her, and jumped up only when the opponent lost concentration. Usually, zebras are not distinguished by a craving for mutual assistance. If predators attack, then each striped horse will be fending for itself. But sometimes there are exceptions. This zebra is one of them. Suddenly, she went on the attack on the lioness and right in front of the safari group and beat off a fellow predator. For the lioness, this was a shock. She clearly got involved with the wrong ungulates, which she used to hunt. The zebra successfully pushed the lioness away, after which it delivered such a powerful blow to its muzzle with its hooves that the sound could be heard even a few feet away. Although the failed victim was already quite a large individual, it was probably a teenager, and the protective zebra was its mother. However, sometimes a zebra can stand on its own against a lioness. Just look at the stubbornness and power with which the ungulate fights off the predator and shakes it off its neck. Amazing strength, which the lioness clearly did not expect. She holds on tightly with her curved claws, reaches for the throat of the prey, and does not give up until the last minute. But the zebra breaks out of her grip and runs away. Sometimes the unexpected boldness of small animals can look charming. For example, this goose that confronts angry bulls. Isn't it cute? The bird is simply unshakable. They are trying to intimidate her, push her away, trample her. But she herself goes into battle, although she is 100 times smaller than her enemy. Even the numerical advantage does not frighten her. About brave people, they say brave as a lion. But about the most fearless, you should be probably saying brave as a goose. Hardly anyone would call a lynx a helpless animal. This is a cool predator that preys on fairly large horned ones. But still, a lynx is a cat weighing up to 65 pounds, up to 30 kilograms. The cougar in the background is a giant. Some individuals can be 3 times larger and several times stronger. Their character is also tough. Aggressive cougars even fight on par with jaguars, the third panthers on the planet after lions and tigers. And cougars are happy to hunt small bears, as they do not like the competition. This cougar also thought that there was a competitor in front of her, only a weak one. The lynx is a rival for her, which is easy to get rid of. But this individual turned out to be much more difficult. She kept her composure and self-control and managed to give the cougar a worthy rebuff. These are very rare shots of a skirmish between such serious predators. Under normal conditions, lynx avoid cougars, but it was not possible to get away from the meeting here. The cougar acts very aggressively, growls, tries to intimidate the opponent. Just pay attention to the lynx look. Even a primed marine would envy that composure. How would you behave if you were face to face with an angry mountain lion? The lynx didn't flinch. Her every movement is clear, so that she responds optimally to the threat, saves its strength, and delivers strong, accurate strikes at the only right moment when they can reach the target. The cougar has to retreat. Unexpectedly for her, the lynx turned out to be a tough nut to crack. These tigers could handle a young elephant. Therefore, predatory cats thought that a duck was just like a snack, like a pack of chips. But they didn't know how cold-blooded and cunning this little feathered buddy was. During each attack, the duck simply dived under the surface of the murky water. And that's it. For the cats, it was gone. Probably if they had dived too, they could have even caught her blindly. However, the disappearance of the duck shocked the cats so much that they froze in place. And when the duck resurfaced, it was like a teleportation for the striped predators. As a result, the cats could not even catch one feathered bird, which did not even try to take off from them. When you see this adorable animal with an elongated ferret face, round ears, and big cute paws running through snowdrifts, The cuteness meter just overloads. But if some large predator tries to attack this little adorable buddy, he will immediately realize that he has contacted the wrong opponent. This wolf regretted that he got caught by such a little buddy. It seems that the gray predator is not laughing. Do you agree? And when you see how this creature kills a deer by himself, and you realize that nature has surprises for you. This is the Wolverine. And the coolest superhero scumbag has its name for a reason. An animal the size of a spaniel that scares experienced wolves by its mere presence. Why is this? It's just that if a wolf or even a cougar has the audacity to attack our little buddy, it can end tragically for the larger predator and become nothing more than a warm-up for the Wolverine itself. And how will an experienced predator behave if it meets the Wolverine? Will it pick up some keys to victory, look for tactics, how to defeat the enemy? No. Here is an experienced wolf, and he made the most reasonable decision. He pretends not to see the Wolverine and tries not to provoke her. Look just how the wolf looks away from the competitor who is walking around and does not show any interest in it at all. Well, wolves are pretty smart animals. The Wolverine weighs a maximum of 55 pounds, 25 kilograms. That is 3 times less than a wolf. But just look at how this battle machine can fight 2 such opponents at once. These wolves carelessly attack Wolverines, but it immediately goes on the counterattack and starts chasing opponents like puppies. The ferocity of the Wolverine simply shocks both wolves, who were waiting for the victim to start running away. Apparently, they haven't faced such an opponent yet. Wolves are considered one of the most successful and effective predators on the planet. But the Wolverine just doesn't care about their reputation, teamwork, intelligence, agility, and other advantages. If you make her angry, she just goes into battle and destroys everything in her path. The secret of the Wolverine's success is a combination of incredible rage, bravery, and extraordinary physical abilities. The Wolverine fights with both jaws and paws. Her claws, although they do not retract like cats, are very sharp and strong. This allows her to grab the victim almost tighter than a bulldog. And it's not so much the bite force as the incredible stubbornness of the animal. If the Wolverine clenches its jaws, then only a burst from a machine gun can make it let go of the victim. And that is the option that first Wolverines will deal with the shooter, and then return to the prey. You know about the Wolverine's reputation, we know about the Wolverine's reputation, even many bears know about it. But the behavior of this baby, on the contrary, is a big surprise for any predator. This is an ordinary American badger. He is much less famous than the Wolverine or honey badger, although they are all relatives. Do you understand what this means? That if due to inexperience, a bear gets into a fight with a badger, it will receive the same tough rebuff as in the case of a honey badger. For its size, the badger has great strength, but still inferior to larger predators. How then does he keep them at bay? It's just that the badger's skin is incredibly strong, and the animal itself has great vitality, a high pain threshold, thick fur, and agility. Even experienced hunters prefer not to mess with the badger. There are legends that the skin of this beast is even more durable than that of a boar. Why then do we hear so little about the rage of badgers? The fact is that they don't like unnecessary problems. The honey badger and Wolverine walk around their possessions and constantly run into a fight. And the badger, on the contrary, likes a quiet life normally. He prefers berries, nuts, roots, vegetables, and if it hunts, it usually hunts insects, reptiles, and small little birds. The badger loves rodents especially, so he is treated well in culture because the badger destroys pests. By the way, he's not irritable, not particularly aggressive, and doesn't try to punch the bear as soon as he notices it. He's also got a really cute face, don't you agree? American badgers have long hair, which in combination with a low-sitting body and short paws makes them look like kind of decorative dogs. European ones look especially cute due to the elongated muzzle with characteristic cute stripes. Therefore, it seems that in front of you is an ordinary quiet boy who hides from the threat and counts only on the protection of its native burrow. That's why it's such a surprise for this bear when it turns out that the badger is even more insane and berserk than his distant relatives. After all, if this guy is provoked, he will be offended and show that it is better not to run into modest people. Most predators avoid fights with an equal opponent for one simple reason: good health is needed for hunting. If the wolf overcomes the enemy, but remains with a wounded paw, it will be much more difficult for him to catch up with the prey. This can end fatally. The badger doesn't care about this at all. He goes to the end, which simply terrifies his competitors. The badger can even attack a cougar if it tries to mess with him. But the cougar is an incredibly aggressive and cruel beast. But she retreats like a frightened little kitten when the badger threatens to gnaw the cat's tendons on its paws. With his elongated but very powerful jaws, he can do this. He attacks 10 times the larger beast stubbornly and brutally over and over again. At the same time, the badger knows the pain points of the enemy and tries to hit each one. This fox thought that the badger was a helpless fatty, but realized too late that he had messed with the wrong one. The badger bites right at the base of the tail, in a very painful place. He shakes it from side to side, causing maximum damage. And thanks to the grip of powerful paws, the fox has no chance to get out until the badger lets him go. And the blows of the enemy, it seems, he simply ignores. And even if the predator retreats, the badger will chase him himself, so that the enemy will forever remember this lesson. Dinosaurs are not extinct. They just turned into birds and are just waiting for an excuse to show their coolness. To approach the cassowary, you need a shield, like a Roman legionary. But even then, the bird attacks with the fury of a berserker and jumps on the shield with all its weight. And if you annoy an ostrich, it can even get sadder. For this bird, the cheetah is just an annoying punk who needs to be taught a lesson. Contrary to popular belief, ostriches do not stick their heads in the sand during danger. They hit with a turn no worse than MMA champions. This bird seems clumsy due to the fact that its dense body is covered with voluminous feathers, but its curved thin neck and fleshy legs are not. So these predators allow themselves to be fooled by their appearance. In fact, the ostrich is a very clever creature. This feathered animal can run faster than 43 miles per hour, 70 kilometers per hour, which is comparable to the results of the best racehorses in the world. Legs that can give such a run-up are capable of breaking all the ribs of a predator with one blow. So if some inexperienced predator climbs into an attack against an ostrich, he will realize that he has messed with the wrong one and will forever remember this painful lesson. And herbivores should not be imposed. Otherwise, it will be like this young giraffe which the ostrich drove to hysterics. If he survives, of course. Fortunately, these birds are quite patient and are able to effectively warn intrusive people that getting to know each other is probably not worth it. With one warning blow, the ostrich breaks the whole fence. Can you imagine what would have happened if the bird had not been so patient? But these people were not so smart to move enough away. You shouldn't mess with an ostrich. So remember this lesson. Do not approach wild birds and do not try to pet them. If they are in a bad mood, there will be no warnings. Eagles don't like impudence very much. This huge bird was in a cage, so another brazen feathered decided that nothing was threatening him and he could steal someone else's food with impunity. But the thief didn't know who he was messing with. The eagle grabbed the impudent man with lightning speed just at the moment when he was trying to get food out of the cage. This cheeky bird will remember this lesson for a long time. But it's better not to mess with birds of prey, so it's with roosters and chickens. Didn't expect it, did you? So the eagles and hawks are not waiting for a serious rebuff. In vain, the roosters have all the trumps on the ground: powerful legs, maneuverability, experience. If the tactics of a quick raid did not work, the eagle can only fight back and spread its wings to appear larger. And the rooster will push again and again to show with his claws and beak. It's better not to touch his chickens. Even a medium-sized chicken can peck a falcon to protect its offspring. Roosters have several advantages. Firstly, it is a very combative character. They really like to fight. Secondly, it is the presence of spurs next to the claws. The eagle's claws are adapted to grab the victim on the fly. They can fight on the ground, but then it becomes too difficult to keep their balance. You have to grab and hold the prey to finish it off with your beak. But the claws of roosters are shorter, but there are sharp spurs, so these birds can attack and retreat, be maneuverable and agile while maintaining the ability to inflict serious damage. And finally, there may be several roosters and chickens. And if they attack a predator together, they will simply peck. Pelicans eat fish that they catch with their beak with a large leather pocket. You know it, we know it, even pigeons know this. And that lets them down. After all, these pigeons do not know who they have contacted, the bird-eating pelican. He pretends to be harmless and then attacks the pigeon and easily swallows it. And what? If a trout fits in the beak, then there's a place for a pigeon there. However, sometimes they fail to take advantage of the surprise effect. These capybaras do not know what a formidable and bloodthirsty predator is next to them, but they don't need to. The pelican can't swallow them anyway, although he tries so hard. And the capybara clearly doesn't care. Its equanimity is a threat that can only be envied. If you ever walk through the jungles of the northeast of Australia, then just why are you doing that? Run away! After all, even if you do not meet with poisonous spiders or dangerous reptiles, there is a risk that you will caught by him, the cassowary. This bird seems cute, but messing with it is a really big mistake. The cassowary looks exotic even against the backdrop of the other huge flightless birds. Unlike the dense ostrich, the cassowary is quite slender, has a bright head color, but its body is covered with black long feathers that more closely resemble the hair of a Rastafarian. At the same time, cassowaries are quite large. Adults can reach a height of 6 feet, 1 8 meters, with a weight of 130 pounds, up to 60 kilograms, which is a very impressive mass for a bird, because even huge golden eagles are almost 10 times lighter. At the same time, because of the thin silhouette stretched upwards, the cassowary seems to be a rather slender bird, especially since most individuals are still smaller than the specified sizes. But do not be deceived. This is not an intellectual, but a real bouncer from the feathered world. The most striking thing is the cassowary helmet, the horn seal on the bird's head. Have you seen the attack of an American football player who was trying to bring victory to his team in a matter of seconds before the end of the match? So, cassowaries use their helmet in about the same way. They powerfully ram everything they see in the forest and run straight ahead. This is their way of making their way through dense thickets. Other birds bypass obstacles, cassowaries ram them. But if you think that the cassowary reacts to danger in the same way, then you are mistaken, because this creature is a real master of martial arts among birds. He instantly assesses the enemy and goes on the attack. In battle, the cassowary uses not only his battering ram helmet and sharp beak, but also his legs. It is the extremities that are the main weapon of this bird. With a kick, she can break the back of a shepherd dog, and sharp claws are used as knives. The one who survived a fight with an angry cassowary is not even afraid of the claws of a leopard. After all, the feathered one deliberately marks his blades exactly in the face and eyes of the enemy. This bird does not fly, but its powerful legs give it the ability to jump like some ninja from Japanese anime. You see the cassowary, and then he turns into a shadow, soars up, and kicks with the force of a sledgehammer, tearing the target with his claws in a couple of lunges. And do you know what exactly can provoke a cassowary to fight? Yes, in general, nothing. He doesn't need a reason to rush into battle. One sideways glance in the direction of this bird, and you cannot make vacation plans. Even if you stay whole, you'll have to spend the money on a plastic surgeon. Therefore, in zoos and nature reserves, cassowaries are approached with growth shields. Only they can withstand the pressure of this monster. It is said that ancient animals survived in Australia due to the isolated position of the continent. Well, after getting acquainted with the feathered Terminator, you will understand that the remoteness of Australia, on the contrary, helped everyone else to survive, because this bird could not beat a wolf, a cougar, and even a small leopard. No, we did not set up experiments, we are just soberly analyzing the situation. And now don't tease the cassowary, give him a like. Then there is hope that he will feel sorry for you if you decide to come to Australia for some apparent reason. Birds of prey are formidable fighters not only in the sky. A fox is a predator that is heavier than an eagle and has stronger jaws. But the eagle doesn't even think of taking off. When he noticed the fox's unhealthy interest in this person, he tilted his head and went to sort it out. Of course, the redhead could only retreat. Even with one paw, the eagle could overcome him thanks to his huge claws. Funny scene? It's not very funny to the fox. It's good that he remained intact. This cat did not immediately understand the size of the one that he wanted to attack. The cat was sneaking up to the bald eagle, who was just having lunch with his favorite fish. Just look how the cat changed his mind about attacking when he realized what a huge bird was in front of him. One glance of the eagle was enough to cool the hunting ardor of the predator. How would you voice their dialogue? Write some options in the comments. However, sometimes conceit fails eagles. This predatory giant thought that he would be feared and shunned. No matter how, he just doesn't know who crows are. This brazen bird flew up to the eagle from above and sat on it. This is not an attack, it's just that the crow wanted a ride. Well, it's not difficult for the eagle. The bird of prey was in shock, but the crow, having rolled on it, calmly flew away on its own business. The cries of seagulls over the seashore, the smell of salt water, the feeling of wind on your face, romantic? Yes, but only until you decide to get to know the seagulls a little better. Like with this little thief who stole a GoPro camera. If it seems to you that in her gaze you see the coolness of a gangster, well, don't think. The seagulls are really in constant combat readiness mode. It turns out that they are real scumbags, which is, it's better not to mess with them. And this is at a relatively modest size. It sounds like the laughter of some movie villain, don't you agree? These pigeons mistook the seagull for another beggar bird. Very wrong. In fact, the seagull came to have a snack just with them. With its sharp beak, this creature inflicted such crushing blows that the pigeons had no chance. Agree. Now you will look at the seagull with completely different eyes. The seagull can only use brute force, but also tactics. Here she caught a pigeon and drowned it, so as not to fight for a long time. Cold calculation in the case. The same thing is the case with the sparrow hunting. The seagull is in no hurry and does not waste energy. She flew up to the bird, grabbed the first sparrow she saw, and flew away. It's like going to the bakery for bread. And even a rat is waiting for the same fate, although usually this animal can fight back even a small dog. Moreover, a seagull can attack a larger animal. For a seagull, a domestic cat in size is the same as a mountain lion for a person. But this does not prevent the bird from calmly approaching the cat during his lunch and coolly taking away his food. The cat is shocked by such impudence and does not know how to react. Perhaps this saved him. He never got hit with the powerful beak of the seagull. Why did this seagull attack the dog? It's a mystery. From the point of view of instinct, this makes no sense. The bird will not be able to eat the dog. There is nothing to take away from him. It seemed that the four-legged simply did not like this feathered one, who believes that he owns the entire surrounding area. Therefore, the seagull attacks the dog again and again, like some fighter coming into turns, hits, and tries to drive away the stunned dog, which, despite the absence of injuries, even becomes a little sorry. The impudence of the seagull reaches some incredible levels. Closer to the surface with food. Is someone throwing food around? Of course, the seagull could not ignore this and flew as low as possible over the water in order to catch the food. But Tuna really didn't know who he was messing with. It is unclear whether he was just only in fantastic blockbusters to get into the mouth of an underwater giant, but to fight and get out of there alive. The seagull brings this plot to life. Although we used to think that seagulls live near the seacoasts, these birds also fly quite far from the water. Many were struck by the brutality of the plot in hunting such a seagull. She noticed the rabbit's lair, a cute, fluffy creature, but not for the seagull. For her, a rabbit is a hearty lunch. A seagull catches him near the entrance to the den and puts its beak into action. It's not as sharp as the hawk's, but it's very durable. The seagull is able to lift the rabbit and cause irreversible damage to the spine with sharp, powerful movements from side to side. After that, the seagull eats the victim whole. But a rabbit weighs only 3 times less than a bird. It's as if a person could eat a couple of huge steaks, several burgers with potatoes, several portions of meat, salads, snacks in one sitting, and after that, he still wanted supplements. Monstrous appetite, wouldn't you agree? Moreover, hunting for a rabbit is the norm for this bird. It must be admitted that the seagulls sometimes run into an opponent, with whom it is still better not to mess. Who can resist this feathered one? Of course, only another bird. And we are not talking about hawks, but about ordinary ducks. That's who can show the seagull that she made a mistake with her opponent. A duck fights with the seagull in its element, on the surface of the water. Thanks to a special secret with which she lubricates her feathers, they do not get wet in the water, and ducks can not only swim for as long as they want, but also dive. If an eagle got into the water, its wings would just get wet and it would drown. In a battle with a seagull, the duck uses its advantage 100%. She just drowns the enemy, pushes from above, and constantly attacks with her beak, pinches, and hits. It is not always possible for a seagull to climb back onto a wing after that. Do you like stories about the triumph of justice? For example, where a robber breaks into a house, thinking that there are defenseless grandmothers, but meets someone like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson inside and even armed. The camera lens caught the same story, but from the world of birds. The hawk wanted to ruin someone else's nest. He did not see who lived there, but decided that he was still in no danger as a formidable predator. Therefore, he can fly there to feast on eggs or even eat other people's chicks. In vain. He didn't know who he was messing with. One gets the feeling that he was expected there. As soon as his head appeared in the entrance, 2 large owls immediately pulled him inside. It turned out that this was their home, and the hawk invaded the territory or even larger in stronger birds of prey. The panic in his eyes indicates that he understood his mistake as well. The owls grabbed his paws with their own and literally disarmed him. The hawk could only spread its wings to push them away somehow. No attempts to escape helped. The owls seemed to have chained their enemy. Moreover, they did not even try to peck it or tear it with their claws. It seems that they have taken him hostage and are enjoying the horror of the hawk, who no longer hopes to get out of there alive. Surprisingly, in the end, the hawk is released and it breaks out of someone else's nest. He will never climb in there again. And what would you do in the place of these owls? Answer in the comments. What do you know about swans? It is quite widely known that they are monogamous and faithful birds that choose one pair for their entire life. Therefore, as well as because of the elegant curve of the neck, powerful wings, and beautiful plumage, they have become a symbol of love. Well, love is cruel, just like swans. It turns out that these birds are real looters who ruin other people's nests. If there is another feathered creature next to them, an unpleasant surprise awaits him. The swan attacks for no reason and provocation, even completely harmless neighbors. With powerful blows of their wings, they are able to stun an opponent, after which they drown him in the water. And if a land animal gets into the water, which is almost helpless there, then this is a real gift for a cruel swan. The dogs did not know who they were messing with and did not immediately realize that their only chance to escape was flight. Away from the water, a swan can also give you some surprises. For example, for no reason just attacking a dog. The swan has no bloodthirsty motives, he's not trying to eat the dog, just beat him up. And the only reason is that the bird just didn't like the dog. In general, the devotion of swans goes beyond all bounds. This family was crossing the roads when the chicks suddenly stopped. That's it, it's their road now. And multi-ton cars will have to wait or go around these impudent birds. Otherwise, the enraged father will attack them too. It seems that the policeman does not protect birds from people, but on the contrary, keeps drivers away from swans to avoid a fight. Just look at how far away from the swans this cop is trying to stay. He knows what's coming for him. The swans are also fighting amongst themselves, and very brutally. This swan attacked the black cousin, perhaps for the sake of the territory, or maybe just a bad mood. And even the retreat of the enemy did not force the aggressor to stop. He chased another swan, pinched it, and then grabbed it by the throat and tried to drown it. Fortunately, the black swan broke free and managed to escape. But he will definitely leave this pond for a long time. And the ducks who watched the battle also clearly don't want to go back there. What kind of birds has your opinion changed of now? Who do you consider harmless, and now, on the contrary, are you afraid of? Answer in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe because we have some amazing things to surprise you with still.